Hello, welcome to Mr. Arthur's video on when am I ever going to use this in real life. Now, you should know by now that I'm a math teacher. If you don't, go watch my other videos and you may question whether I'm a legitimate math teacher or not after seeing them, but I really am a math teacher. And so I get this question all the time, probably 50 times a school year. And I love this question. It is my favorite question ever to be asked. So I'm going to talk about why it's my favorite. And in the process, I will probably insult you, you'll probably disagree with me, and we may not end on good terms. But I'm in a video. Deal with it. So, some visual aids, okay? First, this is me, right here. That's usually how students view teachers, you know. Blah, 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 blah. Math, 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 math. Okay? This is going to represent the students. Tiny, cute, terrifying in large numbers. You know, pretty accurate here. Okay? So, let's talk about why I love this question. So, normally what will happen is you're sitting in class and you can just see it. Teachers can spot this coming. So if you think you're sneaky about it, you really got to change your game. Because this is usually what happens. Some kid, somewhere in the room, slinks down in his chair a little bit, slouches, puts his arm up, got a little bit of an attitude there, raises her hand, and we say yes. And you get, Mr. Arthur, when are we ever going to use this in life? And I know what the student wants. The student wants me to talk specifically about why we are learning the Pythagorean theorem, or why we're learning how to transform graphs, or De Moivre's theorem, or who knows what else. Okay, the more obscure the better. That's questions come up more commonly when it's pretty obscure math. But I've given up talking about specific math concepts. It doesn't work. Okay, it goes in one ear and out the other. So I have a new approach, and I had this epiphany, if you will, this year. And so I look at the students and I smile, and what I say is, I say, thank you, that was my favorite question. You know why it's my favorite question? Because it shows, no, actually no, I say it this way, because it's the most arrogant question that you could ever ask in high school. And I get a little, and a couple heads pick up that were, you know, not paying attention at all. And, wow, them's fighting words. And but you know, it's a great attention grabber. You know, most people are like paying attention now. But it's true. I believe it. It is the most arrogant question that you can ask as a high school student. Because unless you know something I don't, and if you do, please, I will pay you money to let me know. But I have no idea where my life's going. I have a general idea, you know, I teach, I go home, I eat, I know where my house is, okay, and all that stuff. But years down the road, 1 year, 2, 5, 10, I don't know where I'm going to be. I have no idea. And neither do you. I know in high school we think we've got it all figured out. We know exactly what we're going to do after high school, where we're going to go to school, what we're going to study, what our job's going to be, and that's how things are going to go. And I hate to burst your wonderful bubbles, but it rarely works that way, if ever. You don't believe me? Ask your teacher, ask a trusted adult, ask your parents. Life doesn't go according to plan. In fact, the harder we plan for it, sometimes the more dramatic the turn is. You honestly have no idea if or when you're going to use this math. But why handicap yourself now and just say, oh, I know everything, definitely not going to use that, definitely don't need to learn it. You just don't. That's not how life works. We prepare you in a public education system to face the challenges of life. And yes, this is America. We take a shotgun approach to education. You don't like that? You can move to another country. I taught in China for a while. They have to make up their mind about what they're going to do with their lives at a much younger age, and that's what they're stuck with. And they don't get to change jobs like you and I do. So, you know, there's definitely some pros and cons to our approach, but you have the luxury of choice, and you get to experience so many different things. You know, we expose you to a broad range of educational topics. I mean, I'll admit, I didn't like English. Okay, I was decent at it, I got good grades, but I really didn't enjoy it. I don't like Shakespeare, okay? Sue me, burn me at the stake. but I can't stand reading Shakespeare. But I read it, and I became a better reader because of it, and I definitely learned some words I didn't know before. And, it's come up in conversations that I've been able to be a part of, and I genuinely feel like I'm a little bit better person because I read some Shakespeare nonsense, or whatever. But math is everywhere. Okay, you can't run from it. You can't hide from it. I get students all the time, I'm going to be an artist. Okay, learn geometry. I guarantee art will be better. I'm going to be a writer. All right? Writers, I don't like English, but I know they're going to use math somewhere. That was a bad example. Sorry, forget I said that. And then there's also the unplanned things. My wife, when she was growing up, 17 years old, her dad was in the military. He was deployed. Her mom got super sick. She ended up running the finances of the house at 17, handling mortgages and loans and budgeting money and stuff like that. And she hates math, okay? My wife absolutely hates math, and she told me that probably on our second date. And, wasn't a deal breaker. It's okay. And, but she had to do that. And my wife loves animals. Okay, she's worked at an aquarium and at a vet clinic, and there was math all over in her job. And she was trying to run from it. But there's proper ratios and proportions of different chemicals and foods that need to go together to, maintain this environment that is not native to our desert wasteland that we live in here in Utah. I love Utah, by the way. Okay, don't get me wrong. But she had to use math at the vet clinic. She had to, deal with money and transactions and stuff like that all the time. And so then I get the question, well, why don't we just learn practical math then? And what's practical math? Practical math for me, as a math teacher, of course, is, all of algebra up through calculus. Practical math for an engineer is calculus and beyond. Practical is such a subjective term that as a society, we have given you the privilege, and I say that honest to goodness, the privilege of being exposed to all types of things and allow you to make a decision a little bit further down the road. And just because you get a bad taste in your mouth maybe from one math teacher, or there was something that was really hard, doesn't mean it's all bad. We've all eaten a bad apple or a bad piece of fruit. You still go back for more. Okay, but sometimes we get such a jaded view of math that we just refuse. We swear up and down, I refuse to use math. And that's selling yourself short. I'm sorry, doors are going to close in your face. Okay? Your arrogance and your refusal to even try in math is going to close opportunities for you in the future. And you might be fine with that right now. Right now you live with your parents. Things are pretty good, your basic needs are met. But I promise you, when you have a family of your own and you see people around you with math skills, with, great jobs, and you say, I wish I could have that, you might think twice, and you might think back, why did I shut the door on that math? I'm not saying there aren't good jobs without math. There certainly are, okay? And they're certainly out there, and I encourage everyone to go and to pursue them and to pursue their dreams, and whatever makes you happy, go after it. But don't make up your mind before you tried. Okay? And you say, well, yeah, I'm trying math right now, and math is really hard. Yeah, it's meant to be hard. I don't know about you, but I wasn't born knowing how to do algebra. Okay, I worked at it. Just like you. You weren't born knowing how to solve for x. If you're in high school, I'm pretty sure that just about everyone knows how to solve a 1 or 2 step equation for x. Okay, you weren't born knowing how to add or multiply or divide or any of those simple things until you worked at it. So math is just like that. Which then brings me to my favorite analogy for this. Okay? And I'm a soccer player and a soccer coach, but pretty much everyone understands the game of football. So we'll use that, most popular sport in America. And I love football. But no one has ever won a football game by dropping in the middle of the game and doing crunches on the field. You do not crown the champion based on the number of crunches the team can perform consecutively without passing out. All right, that would be the most boring sport in the world to watch. Although someone would watch it and someone would find a way to make a lot of money on it, because that's just how we are. We love competition. But it's not going to happen, okay? But yet every football team does crunches or jumping jacks or any number of exercises to strengthen your core or your muscles. But yet you never perform that skill on the field. Ever. So why do you do it? What's the point? When am I ever going to use this in a real game? Why do I do crunches? Or for you artists, my sisters were both incredible singers, okay? You don't go to a performance after the age of like 10 and sing scales or musicians on the piano. You just don't. Those are the things you play at your house to drive your older brother crazy, like my sisters did. But award-winning artists don't perform those things. But yet they all can do them by heart, by memory. So why do we do it? We do it to prepare, to train, to be ready for any situation that may come up that requires our bodies to react. You cannot predict a football game or any sporting event. I would even go so far as to say, musical performances as well, or artwork. You might plan it out from the beginning. There's always going to be some amount of variability that you have to deal with. And if you haven't practiced and built up those muscles and those reserves to adapt to your situation, you're going to fail. You're going to lose. You're not going to perform your best or be embarrassed. We do things like math and crunches and scales so that we are ready for whatever life throws at us. Because we don't know. You just don't know. So why limit yourself? Okay, I have seen athletes and artists put themselves through terrible training regimens. I consider terrible. Okay, hours and hours and hours every day, and beat their bodies and their minds to a pulp. Okay, I've had days like that where I've just wanted to die after practice. But we keep going. And why do we keep going? Because there's some reward at the end. Okay? But I promise any of you who have any sort of passion, sports, the arts, writing, whatever it may be, that if you develop your mental discipline, you will be better at your activity. As a coach and as a player, you can tell the ones who have mental discipline. And I have learned here at school that there is a correlation, and I believe a sort of cause and effect relationship between those who are good students and those who are persistent athletes. Now, don't get me wrong here. Good students doesn't mean straight A's, and it doesn't mean 4.0s. Good students are students that know how to learn. Whatever your grade may be, as long as you are learning and you are pushing through, I consider that a good student. All right? Let our abilities fall where they may. Those are good students. The ones who are not afraid of the challenge, who are not afraid to show weakness and to admit that they don't know how to do something, and then to go out and find a way to do it anyway. Okay? When you're in the fourth quarter of a game, second half, right there at the end, and we've all been there where we've been leading the game or dominating the game, and then the opponent comes back right towards the end, and you look out at your teammates or whatever team you're watching, and you can tell in their body language and in their play those that are mentally tough and those that are not, because that will break you. It is hard. You give your heart and your soul to a game, and then right towards the end, the opponent gets ahead of you. What do? Do you lay down and quit, or do you keep going? Okay? Those that have trained themselves to overcome toughnesses in the classroom are those that will keep fighting on the field. Now, yes, there are exceptions, okay? But as a general rule, and just seeing what I've seen in my experience, they go hand in hand. And math, I think most high school students would agree that math is the hardest subject. It's probably the one that has the most failing grades. It's the one that people like the least. It's the one that, whenever I say I'm a teacher, and they say, what do you teach? And I say math, and their first response is, oh, I was never any good at math. Okay, math is the only subject that we feel like we have to justify our failures in, or just not failures, but admit to people that we're bad at. No one, very few people say, yeah, I was terrible at history. Like, most people don't say that. It's always math that comes up. So math is that ultimate measuring stick. Okay? Again, you don't have to get straight A's. You don't have to be a math genius. It doesn't have to come easy. It doesn't even have to come quick. Some of the best students I've known are the last ones to turn their test. But I know they're thinking about it and they're working through it. And that skill in and of itself, whether you ever use math or not, will serve you in any job, in any capacity in life. If the only things you ever do are easy, you will never accomplish anything great. And whatever your definition of greatness is, I'll let you fill in the blanks. Okay? You know, whether that's just being a great, well, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to open that can of worms. But I believe that strongly, and other subjects do it too. Okay, I don't want to downplay other subjects, although we all know math is the best. Okay, come on, just, yeah, we know it. But math is generally agreed upon to be the hardest, and so you're using it right now. Okay, I don't know how you feel about it, but you are in real life. Okay, you sitting here in this classroom or at your computer or wherever you may be, this is real life. You're picking up skills now that you will carry with you the rest of your life. And that mental toughness aspect, you know, despite any other practical uses of math, being mentally tough enough to see it through to the end, to follow a logical process, to go back and check your work and to find your mistakes, those are skills that any employer wants. They're the ones you can't quantify, but the ones that math teaches better than anything else. And if you want to be ready for whatever life's going to throw at you, if you want to have doors opened instead of closed in your face, you will continue to learn math. You don't have to like it. Okay, I'm not here trying to convince anybody that they have to love math. But I am here to convince you that it's worth it. And to stop selling yourself short. Okay, we close more doors on ourselves than anybody else does, because we look at a math problem and say, oh, there's 3 letters in that. Can't do it. Nope. 3 letters too much. Two is my max. 1 was pushing it. 3 letters, right out. I'm done. Peace. And we quit. We don't even try. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to succeed. And so, yeah, I believe strongly that it is arrogant, that you use math all the time. And if you want practical applications, go to Google. Okay? As math teachers, I think that sometimes we feel obligated, and I felt like this as a newer teacher, that I felt obligated to know where every single piece of math that I teach is going to be used, what professions will use it, where it could be, and inevitably I failed. Your teachers will fail. We come up with the best examples we can, but we don't know all of them. So go research it. Use those skills that you've been learning in math on how to problem solve, and go research it. If you really want to know, when am I going to use this in life, go ask, the collective consciousness of the earth, aka the internet. Alright? But if you want to know when you're going to use the skills that math teaches beyond the paper, beyond the classroom, that we can definitely help you out with. Okay? So don't be arrogant. Alright? I know it's hard. We all like being arrogant. We all like feeling like we know what's going on, when really most of us have no idea what's going on. And the older you get, the more you realize you have no idea what's going on, and the more willing you are to admit that. But stick with it in math. Honestly, I can't think of better advice that I can give to any student than don't quit on math. All right, and as technology increases, I mean, we owe math a huge a huge debt of gratitude for all the advances that we have. Probably half of you right now have a cell phone in your hand and aren't really paying attention because you're texting your friend or looking at some social media site or playing some game. You wouldn't have any of that without math. And a lot of times the people that invent these things aren't the mathematicians. Okay, they're the people that are just going about their business. They have a great idea, and then whether they're able to implement it or not, often depends on their math skills. So, again, don't be arrogant, okay? Nod your head with me. We will not be arrogant, okay? And so someday, when you're older, fuzzier, look like that guy, you will come and you will say, thank you for teaching me math. Thank you for telling me that I was arrogant. And I will say, you're welcome. And we'll all live a happy life full of math. Anyway, thanks for watching my ramblings. Feel free to write comments on the video, good or bad. I probably won't respond to them, just being honest. But you can write them. I'll probably read them. And have a great day. Bye.